I got a question for you. So why is it that we rush to be married? Because everyone's talking about, hey, go get you a man, go get you a woman, chase the ring, but you ain't chased your own life. You know, here's the funny thing. You know, as I'm traveling around the world and I'm on TV, from Tamron Hall to Fox and Friends to the Rachel Ray shows, one of the most common questions I have been asked is, Anthony, how did you build your success? And it's simple. I didn't focus on getting into a relationship. I maximized my single season. And that is why I created this course. We're gonna walk through 8 pillars on how to maximize your single season and really tap into that potential that's on the inside of you that you really haven't brought out. There's some assignments, there's some constructive thinking that you're gonna have to really put into place so that way you can start building your life. Because when we have ownership, we have freedom. When we have freedom, it creates different opportunities. When we have opportunities, there's so much you can do with your future family. But it starts right now. You own your mind. You own your thoughts. God has given you something, go do it. You have been all over the internet, all over TV. You know, I watched your journey with Shark Tank, and I was very, very impressed. And then I saw you in the Breakfast Club, and you was dropping some major knowledge. But before we get into all this and how you've become successful today and came up with a successful product that a lot of Black people are using, let's talk about who is Noel. Like, who are you? Where were you raised? How were you raised? What's your upbringing?
Man, I'm gonna just say I'm a simple man, man. A simple man, simple goals, and I feel like deep down inside, at the basis, I want what every decent human being wants, right? Which is to take care of your family, right? Not to have them struggle, right? My dad comes from a family of 10.
Okay.
His parents, both double digits. My mom's side, both their parents, somewhere in the double digits as well.
Wow.
So I have a very big family and very large sense of family. My father spoke wisdom into me since I was young. And he's just always preached. And if you're going to be a man in this world, especially a Black man, and you're going to choose to have a family, it is your responsibility to take care of them.
Wow. And so where did you grow up? I'm curious.
I grew up in the Inland Empire. I grew up in a city called Corona, California.
Corona.
What up, Corona? I love the city. Yeah.
Okay. Why are you shaking your head? You from that area? Oh, okay. She was like, okay. Yeah. You know, that's my social media lady. She's from California too. I'm from California as well. I'm from Oceanside.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of that city though.
Corona, yes, Inland. Inland Empire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said family man. I just want to celebrate with you. You don't have a family yet, but you just recently proposed.
I did. Shout out to my fiance, Grace. Getting all the shout outs. I love her. It's different. That's like a whole nother journey, right?
Is it?
Because I feel like, again, as men or just living in the state or living in the United States, you always get told like what to think, what to wear, how to act, right? So in high school, you know, you wear the saggy pants, you try to fit in, like you're always trying to put on this persona. And then as you get older, you start saying, no, this is who I am. And you start being authentic to like yourself, right? So for me, you know, I just had to like reprogram my brain of what I actually wanted, like outside of like, you know, the physical looks and everything, right? Like, granted, my fiance is beautiful, but like on paper, what did I need that for a partner, right? Like, and try to date off the list versus dating strictly off, you know, lust. Yeah.
Oh, he said lust. I was just going to say looks. He said lust.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, man. One of my friends said they have an organization called Marriage by Design. And he was like, design what you want in marriage and your spouse before you get married.
Facts.
And when I hear you say that, I was like, man, why is this registering right now?
Manifest it, right?
Yeah.
So it's no different than my goals, no difference than, you know, me starting Twisted Up or me starting any business.
Yeah.
I had to really reprogram my brain, like, this is what, because it took a while. Because like, I was just so second nature just to be like, oh yeah, look. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And then now it's just like, I just want a partner. I want someone that keeps the peace.
And there's nothing wrong with good looks, right? You want a beautiful woman.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, at the end of the day, for me, what matters the most to me is, I want a partner.
Yeah.
Like, I want someone that at the end checks the boxes that I need as a partner. Like, if you're building a team, if you're building like some type of foundation, like I'm going to go through life with this person. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to grow old. Like, we got to be able to discuss and have a conversation about our feelings without yelling at each other, which is like so hard to do.
Yeah.
Right. Because no one teaches emotional intelligence. So
I told y'all, bro. We just having a conversation. We haven't really got to the meat of things, and it's been over time like, we can have an intelligent conversation without yelling at each other.
Correct. But there's like, you have to go. I had to go read books, right? The same thing that I had to do with anything else in my life. I had to go learn it. So I'm very grateful for the internet, right? Yeah. And like, shout out to I always got to a shout out to Will Smith, because the dude has been super influential in my life.
Wow.
Yeah. Very. Yeah.
Man. So you are a Black entrepreneur.
Yes.
Why is entrepreneurship so important to you as a Black man?
Just deconstructing on what it means to be Black and be successful. Right. Coming from where we came from, or just me in general. I can only speak from like the Inland Empire, right? Like, in certain areas, it's just a stereotype, right? That in order to be Black and be successful in America, you got to fall in one in few categories: entertainer, right? Athletic, right? Or you doing something on the side that's quote unquote illegal, right? So, what I love about just the internet and your show, as well as Earn Your Leisure, there's so many African Americans that are giving a platform to show other African Americans that, like, there is another way. And the internet is like the great equalizer.
Absolutely.
If you have the ability to read and comprehend, your life is like
game changing.
Because you just go on the internet and you can learn whatever you want to learn.
Absolutely. I think entrepreneurship for Black people is one of the keys to freedom.
Yes.
It's one of the keys that when we have that opportunity to own what we've created, we create other doors for other young African Americans to come up.
Facts. I want to just classify in entrepreneurship. I would just say it's understanding just the nest egg, the overhead in your house, your liabilities versus assets, right?
Come on, man.
The more money that you make and you start to assume more liabilities, now all of a sudden you get stuck in this hamster wheel, right? You watch any 30 for 30, any athlete that got a lot of money that was injected to them at a very young age, no one taught them fiscal responsibility.
That's it.
So now when the pipeline turns off, now all of a sudden, I bought 4 homes in cash, but no one told them about property taxes. So the nut on a $8 million home in the state of California is going to run you north of like $100,000 to $120,000 just to keep, even though you paid it off. Right. So now you have this overhead, and you're not making the same amount of money. So I just feel like entrepreneurship, or whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or, you're a business owner, whatever it may be, you just got to understand what your liabilities are and what your assets are, because you're going to get stuck in this hamster wheel.
Man, that's my mission, is to bring financial intelligence, stewardship messages to the Black and African American people.
Yeah, man.
Because I didn't have that growing up.
My life purpose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I wanted you on the show. Because I was like, man, this guy has wisdom, he has knowledge, and you're building something from the ground up. And you've had a lot of people try to imitate what you've built. And I'm like, wow. So what made you want to get involved with the Twisted Up comb? Because let's be real, all right? Natural hair for Black people has not always been popular.
Nah, correct. It just came out of necessity for me, man. Like, know your lane. I do real estate for a living. I do real estate and mortgages, right? The only thing that I consider myself an expert in is mortgages, because I've been doing it for 10 plus years. As I got older, I started to not want to put texturizers in my hair. Like, no offense to anyone that does it.
Right.
I just been doing it since I was like 14, 15 years old. Got tired of it. Was tired of the maintenance, right? Didn't want to chop off my hair and go short. Like, there's only so many hairstyles that I can't have. And then I really started seeing like the struggle, right? Because braids, cornrows, dreadlocks, all these things that are natural to the culture in a work environment, it's quote unquote a statement hairstyle.
Yeah.
So I was in the search of how do I maintain my hair without going through an hour before night routine maintenance. And I came across Usher, and he had this South of France cut and this whole sponge thing, that how you do your hair.
Yeah.
And it worked. And I was like, yo, this is dope. And again, I'm always going to say this, just again, like, cause we get a lot of like comments or people be like, oh, like, why do you hate on the sponge? And I feel like a lot of people like to pin black people against black people.
Right.
And it's like, I'm not hating on the sponge. And if you're going to use a curl sponge, I prefer you use a company called NuDread, because he's the inventor. It's a black-owned guy.
Okay.
He started it.
Okay.
Without him, there would be no twisted up comb, right? So use NuDread.
Okay.
But as I started getting, older and using this sponge over and over and over again, I needed a better trap because it didn't fit in my pocket. I was always wondering why the sponge is black. So like it's dirty. And when I go to like a club and they tell me to take off my hat, like I didn't have nothing in my pocket or anything to do my hair.
Right.
So I wanted to solve a problem that was a convenience for me.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to solve those three major problems. Right. I didn't want to keep on replacing it because at one point I was spending like $10 to $15 on a sponge like every 2 weeks, and then I was getting a haircut. Probably every week and a half, like a lineup or something.
So you have to replace the sponge often like that?
Yeah, especially if you use it the way that, I was going through it. Because I would use it every single day, and it would just start to break apart, right? So I just kept hurting my pockets at the time. And I was like, I need to figure out a better way. Like it's 2016, there has to be a better way.
Yeah.
And then I came across a tennis racket. My cousin at like 1 o'clock in the morning came to me, doing what people do at 1 o'clock in the morning, and said, yo, man, don't ask me how I found this out, but like you can twist your hair with a tennis racket. And I started using a tennis racket for like 2.5 years.
Wait. So the way your hair looks right now, it started from
a tennis racket.
A tennis racket.
Like what Venus and Serena play with.
Like the full tennis racket?
Tennis racket.
Bro, there's
videos of me on YouTube using it. Like when I first found out about it, I was like dying. And it worked. And I bought 3 of them. And I put one in my car, one at the gym, and like one at my girl's house at the time.
And you was just...
Because it always worked, no matter where I went. So if I went to the club and they told me to take off the hat, I'd be like, no problem. I go back to the car real quick, pull out the racket, do my hair real quick.
At the club?
Yeah, and go back.
Noel was about that life.
I was about that life. Yeah, man.
So that's where the vision for your company started.
Twisted Up, yeah. So then I went to Brazil. I made decent money for myself in 2016, and I started traveling. I was like, this is the first time I'm going to take the foot off the gas. I've been working for since I was 22. So 15 plus hours. Let me take a vacation. Let me enjoy my life. I got a nice little nest egg saved up. So I started traveling the world. Okay. And my mom gave me this racquetball racket, which is a little bit smaller than a tennis racket.
Okay.
Fits in a carry-on.
Okay.
When I was in Brazil with one of my friends, long story short, I lost it. So we spent about an hour and a half walking the strip of Brazil trying to find a tennis racket. And when I came back, I was like, yo, I'm going to give myself like 3 weeks to figure out this problem. Like, I got to find a small tennis racket. Like, it's 2016, 2017. There's got to be a small one. There's somewhere, but it didn't exist.
Right.
So I figured out how to shrink it. I went into a barbershop one day and I told my barber, bro, look what I did. He told me that I needed to sell it. And at that time, like you said, natural's not very popular.
It's not, yeah.
So I'm not about to leave a 6-figure job, right? Business for something that I thought was like for black people with natural hair that want to wear the hair a certain way. Like my market's like this tiny.
Right.
And on the West Coast, we catch on things late because I didn't know how popular this hairstyle was until I started coming to the East Coast. And then it wasn't until the end of 2016, my barber got a fine from like a state board barber for reusing a curl sponge. Because in every state across the nation, there is rules. There is a state barber rule that says if you reuse something that is porous onto another client, it is a fine. It's unsanitary. You have to dispose of it or they have to take it with you. So he got a fine for like $250. So he called me and he said, yo, if you don't make this into a business, I'm going to. So I was like, all right, let me see what I can do. And January of 2017, I started doing hair shows. Sold out in January, February, March, and April. And then April of 2017 is when I made it a full-time business.
From a tennis racket.
Yeah.